step forward. The trust has pulled him closer to the powerful Akaya family. Now Arask is no longer facing only a private mystery from his childhood. He is also facing the possible loss of place he calls home and the separation of the friends who have become his real family. Episode 9 appears ready to connect these two struggles, forcing Aras to choose between continuing his search and standing beside the young people who have shared his pain, hopes, and difficult life. Before discussing the new development, it is important to understand where the story currently stands. Episode 8 placed Eras inside the Akaya family worlds in a way that nobody expected. Eras and Leila attend the charity fashion event while pretending to be a couple. Their arrival together was already enough to create tensions because their relationship challenged the boundaries that Sabnam and Hakan and tries to protect. The evening became much worse when Toyman attacked Eras in front of others people. What was meant to improve the public image of the Akaya family turns into a serious scandal. The family had that treating Eras like an unwanted outsider suddenly need these corporations. Eras agreed to help, but his decisions opened the doors to old secrets. At the same time, Toyman began another dangerous plan, believing that hurting Arask would give him control without understanding that the plan could eventually destroy him as well. It also changed the emotional relationship between the young characters. Dennis finally admitting that the feelings written on the paper discovered by Toyman were her feelings for Aras. This confess did not arrive at a peaceful moment. Arax was already carrying the pressure of his brother's disappearance, the thread surrounding Sahrat, the conflict with Toyman, and his complicated connections with Lala. Danny's honesty therefore did not create a simple romantic opportunity. Instead, it created another emotional problem that Arask was not prepared to solve. Dennis has kept her feelings hidden, but once the trust comes out, he should no longer return to silence. Arask now that his actions affect more than one heart. Lala, Dennis, and Toyman are all connected to him in different ways. Or every choice he makes could damage one of those relationships. This is why the romantic storyline in episode 9 may become as important as the search for Demir. The official episode 9 information introduced a direct threat to the children homes. New arrives that the institutions will be closed and the young residents will be moved to different cities. For Arask, this is not simply an administrative decision. The home represents years of shared memories, protection, struggles, friendship, and belonging. The people living there understand him in a way that wealthy families cannot. They know what it feels like to grow up without the safety of parents. They have seen one another at their weakest moment, and they have learned to survive by creating their own kind of family. Losing the buildings would be painful, but being separated from one another would be much worse. The official summary says that Aras and the decide to spend the night in the garden while Paris and Oslam becomes important. Resistance involvement changes the entire meaning of Ara's journey. From the beginning, his greatest purpose has been fighting his brothers. He came to Bodrum because he believed the city contained and other answers about Demir. Leaving Bodrum could end his investigations before he reached the trust, yet remaining the city while allowing his friend to be separated would also feel like a betrayal. Eras is therefore caught between two ideas of family. Damer is his family by blood, by brother he remembers, and he has searched for over many years. The resistance of the home are his family through experience, loyalty, and shared pain. Nathan's connections is false, and Nathan's can easily be abandoned. Episode 9 may show Aras understanding that finding Demir will means very little if he loses everyone else while doing it. He fight to save the home could become part of his search rather than a distraction from it. The closers also appear suspicious because of its timing. Sebnam has repeatedly tried to remove Arax from the Akaya family life. He has become dangerous to her because he asks questions that could uncover the past influence Lela and challenge Toyman and refuse to be frightened by worth or authority. The official trailer information said that Sebnam makes the moves that cause the home to close and once again faces Arask directly. This confirmed that the clause is not merely bad luck, it is a part of our deliberate effort to weaken him. Sebnam understands that Aras gains strength from his friend and from his connections to the home. By destroying that support system, she may hope to force him out of boredom. However, she continues to underestimate the most important part of his characters. Pressure does not normally make Aras surrender, it makes him more determined. Plans may therefore produce the exact result she wants to avoid. Until now, Ara's conflict with the Akaya has often been personal. Many people could view it as a troubled young man challenging a respected family. Once the home is threatening, the fight becomes much larger. Aras is no longer defending only himself, he is defending children who may lose their stability because of a powerful woman's private angers. If the public learns the real reasons behind the closure, the Akaya family's reputations could suffer. Another serious blow, the scandals at the fashion event has already made them valuable. A story about rich and influential people using their power against children without families could create even greater damage. Sabnam believes she is removing Ara's protections by she may actually be giving him a cause that attracts support from the entire community. The decisions of camp outside the building is especially meaningful as Aras and his friend are not attacking anyone escaping or hiding, they are remaining visible. Their presence outside the home becomes a peaceful declaration that the building is more than government property, it holds their memories and represents their right to remain together. Spending the night in the garden also create a strong emotional image. These young people who have already experienced abandonment are now being told that the small moment of stability they found can be removed without their agreement. By sleeping outside, they show that they not quietly despair. Their protest may bring journalists local resistance, social media tensions, or unexpected allies. It could also place them in danger if someone decides that their resistance must be ended quickly. Barris and Oslams are likely to play a greater role in this part of the story. The official summary identifies them as two of Ara's strongest supporters, which suggests they may help organize the protect or final a legal and public way to challenge the closures. Berries may provide energy and courage when feels begins to spread through the group. Oslam may become the clamor voice, helping the other understand that emotional resistance must have a clear plan. Brave is but bravery alone may not save the home. They may need evidence showing who arranged the closures, proof that the resistance can safely remain, and support from people with influence. These responsibilities could allow side characters to become active participate instead of remaining only in the background of Arask's struggles. The protect will also test Arask as a leader. He has often acted alone because he does not want other peoples to become targets. His instinct is to carry every danger himself. That approach may work during a private investigation, but it cannot succeed when an entire group is fighting for its futures. Arask will have to listen, share responsibility, and trust his friend. He must also control his anger. Sepnums may accept him to react violently so that she can describe him as dangerous and use behavior as another reasons to close the home. If Arask understands this trap, he may surprise her by becoming more disciplined. His strongest response would be an shouting or frightening. It will be provided that the resistance are united, responsible, and fully aware of their right. One of the most interesting development is Toyman involvement is the protest. The official episode 9 summary says that he enters the situation acceptedly and become trapped in a tension that causes his hidden emotions to move beyond his control. D happen in several ways. Toyman may arrive intending to challenge Arask, only to witness the painful reality of the home closures. He may see young pupils preparing to lose the only family there knows and recognize something from his own emotional life. Toyman grew up surrounded by wealth, but that does not mean he grew up feeling safe or loved. His family has hidden information from him, controlled him, is used fear to maintain its secret. The resistance of the home have less money, yet their loyalties to one and others may reveal what Toyman on household lacks. Toyman anger has always been connected to deeper pain. He attacked Aras not only because he disliked him, but also because Aras threatening his identity. Toyman has been given Aras bring question about the past challenges. Toyman plays inside the family, attract Lala attention and receive respect from pupils. Toyman wants to impress every time Aras survive another attack. Toyman feels weaker, yet the strongest source of his rage may be the fear that Arask has something he does not, a clear purpose. Arask knows why he is fighting. Toyman often fights because he does not know what else to do with his fear. Jealousy and confusion. Episode 9 could push him into a movement where anger is no longer enough to hide those feelings. The trailer's information also says that Toyman now feels only haters toward his family. Serious change in earlier episode. Toyman may have been angry with individual family members, but some part of him still depends on the family structures. Haters suggest that he now believes the entire foundation of his life is dishonest. He may suspect the Sebnams and Hakan have lied about Hakan's Arask Damir or the accident that shaped the brothers' childhood. If Toyman believe they are protecting themselves rather than protecting him, he could stop following their instructions. The would make him dangerous to everyone. A rebellious Toyman could real information by accident, steal documents, confront Sarat or make a public statement that creates another scandal at the first time. Toyman hated does not automatically turn him to Arask jelly. Hurt peoples do not always choose the right target. Toyman may blame Aras for losing the trust to appears, even though the lie exists long before Aras arrived. He may see the protest as another stage when Aras receive attention and respect. The second trailer suggests that Khan's express administration for Aras courage, while Toyman hears the conversation and becomes even more hostile toward him. It could be extremely important. Toyman already feels uncertain about his place in Hakan's eyes. Hearing Hakan praise Arask may sound like confirmations that he is being replaced instead of understanding why Arask is respected. Toyman may decide that the must defeat him. Hakan administrations create a fascinating contraction. He has repeatedly acted as an obstacle in Arask's search, yet he cannot completely ignore the young man's strength. Arask enters difficult situations without the protections of money or famous family name. He stands beside his friend, accept him, and continue asking questions even after receiving threat. Khan may see qualities in Arask that he wishes Toyman had shown. This does not mean the Khan had suddenly becomes honest or kind. His administration may exist beside fears. In fact, respecting Aras could make Khan more worried because he understands that such determination is difficult to control. A weak enemy can be brought or frightening Aras. He shown that Nathar's method is likely to stop him. Hakan's secret actions record Sehrat will bring another major confrontation. The official second trailers say that Arask finds Sehrat is the place where Hakan has been hiding him. Arask then asks whether Sehrat is the person who brought him to Bodrum and know the location of his brothers. DB, the most important sense of the episode, Sehrat has been linked to the message and information that guide Aras investigations. Aras has suspected him before, but reaching him has repeatedly becomes difficult now. Aras may finally have a chance to ask direct questions without another person's controlling the conversations. The answers could confirm whether Damir is alive, explain why Arask was invited to Bodrum, or reveal who has benefited from keeping his brothers apart. Sehra's situation is complicated because Sehra Doing's closeness with Toyman adds another layer. In episode 8, Toyman and Danny spent time together and she prepared to first some comfort in his company after feeling unseen by Aras and emotionally unrejected by the mothers. Toyman may interpret these connections as something deeper. He is lonely, angers, and desperate to feel chosen. If Dennis continues to focus on Arask, Toyman could believe that he has once again lost to his rivals. This would intensify his jealousy. On the other hand, Dennis may be one of the few people capable of seeing the frightening persons beneath Toyman's aggressions. Her presence could calm his during the protest or soft terrible mistakes. A relationship between Dennis and Toyman would be simple or immediately health. If Dennis continues to focus on Arask, Toyman could believe that he has once again lost to his rival. This would intensify his jealousy. On the other hand on his Dennis may be one of the few pupils capable of seeing the frightening or persons beneath Toyman aggressions. His presence could calm him during the protest or stop him from making a terrible mistake. Our relationship between Dennis and Toyman would not be simple or immediately healthy. Toyman has behaved violently and must take responsibility for the harm he has caused. Dennis should not become a tool used only to repair him. Yet their connections could Toyman become meaningful if it forces Toyman to face his behavior honesty. Denise understands the pain of feeling unwanted, but she also knows that pain does not excuse cruelty. She may challenge him in a way him family never has. Instead of protecting him from every consequence, he should tell him that he is becoming the king of persons he claimed to hate. That trust might hurt him more than any insult for Aras. The episode 9 protest may bring Stoyman and Dennis together again. Dennis could join the resistance because she opposed the closers while Toyman arrived for reasons connected to Hakan or Aras. A confrontation may begin and Dennis might step between them. Toyman hidden emotional could then rise to the surface. He may accuse Dennis of caring only about Aras, admit that his family has lied to him, or reveal fear that he does not belong anywhere. Such a moment would not erase his previous actions, but it would give the audience a clear view of his inner conflict. The characters become more interesting when his anger is shown as a choice shaped by pain rather than as his only personality. The home's closers will also expose the difference between Aras and Toyman. Aras lost his biological family and grew up with a very titles, yet they learned to fame from strong bond with people around him. Toyman grew up in a wealthy house, but its relationships are controlled by secrets, fears, and competitions. Aras friends stand beside him violently. Toyman family often stand beside him because maintaining appearance benefits them. When Hakan prizes Aras' courage, Toyman may hear more than simple administrations. He may hear as a comparisons between the young men who heir the loyalty and the sons who have never learned how to create it. That compromises could neither break him or push him towards change. Hakan must also decide how far he will also Shabnam's plans to go. He may agree that Aras is dangerous, but closing the man creates risk for the entire family. Hakan thinks strategically, while Shabnam often acts from near and emotions when Toyman or the family image is threatening. If the protest attracts public attention, Hakan may tell Shabnam that she has made a serious mistake. Their disagreement could reveal crack in their marriage or partnership. Hakan may even offer to help save the home, not because he has become generous, but because doing so would repair the Akaya name and place Aras in his depth. Around would probably reject help that comes with conditions. He understands that powerful people rarely give something without expecting control in return. Hakan could offer money, influence, or another building, while quality requiring Aras to stop asking about Demir. This would create a difficult moral choice. Accepting would protect the resistance from immediate separations, but it might end Aras' search for allow Hakan to hide the past forever. Refusing could preserve Aras' freedom while placing his friend at risk. The strongest version of this conflict would not have an easy answer. Ara's friend may even disagree with him. Some may believe saving the home matters more than investigating old secrets. Sabnam could use this disagreement to divide the group. She may present Aras as selfish, claiming that he is allowing everyone to lose their home because of his personal war with the Akayas. Although the accusations would be unfair, it could influence fighting resistance. Not everyone has Aras courage. Some may prefer safety even if it comes from the people responsible from the dangers. This would be a realistic challenge. Unity often appears strong until people are offered different ways to escape. Aras may have to convince his friend that accepting Hakan's condition would only create another form of control. He must show them that they deserve a real solution rather than temporary mercury. Leila might become the person who finds proof linking Sabnams to the closets. She has access to the Akaya house conversations, documents, and devices that Aras cannot easily reach. After learning that Aras truly loves her, she may decide to stop waiting from him to include her. Instead, should Cloud investigate on her own, discovering evidence against Sabnam would place Lala in a painful position. Revealing it could protect the home but damage her family. Hiding it would betray Aras and the resistance. Lala's growth depends on whether she can make a moral choice. Even when the cost is personal, such decisions would also show whether Lala's feelings for Aras are based on excitement or real commitment. Their connection has developed in a world of attractions, conflict, and freedoms. Closeness episode 9 gives her a chance to turn those feelings into actions. Standing beside Arask does not mean blindly agreeing with everything he does. It means taking responsibility from the harm connected to the family and helping correct it. Lara could use her voice, publicly challenge Sabnam or hand over evidence that protect that resistance. Even if Aras continued trying to keep her away, her actions could show him that she is not a person who needs to be reduced from every difficult trust. Sabnam's reactions to Lala's resistance may be subtle. She already viewed Aras as someone who would threaten the family from outside. If Lala chooses Aras' side, Sabnam may begin to see her own daughters as another threat. She should resistance Lala movement, take away access to money or communications, or accuse Aras of manipulating her. These actions would increase Lala's determination rather than restores control. Sabnam's greatest weakness in her belief that force can perceive love. She protests her family by living, controlling, and attacking outsiders, but every such action pushes her children further away. Episode 9 may show this pattern reaching a breaking point. Toyman's hatred toward his family may also lead him to expose Sabnam's role. Even if he is still hates Arask, he may refuses to help his mother. After learning what he has done, he could reveal information during an angry confrontation without understanding the consequence. For example, he may tell the resistance that Sabnam arranged the closure simply to hurt Aras. This would immediately turn the protest into a public accusation against the Akayas. Hakan would then have to decide whether to deny Toyman's statements or silence him. Ether's choice would make Toyman feel more betrayal. The episode may use the nighttime settings of the protest to create several private conversations after the public angers become Characters could begin speaking honesty beside the garden under weak lights, surrounded by bags and blankets. Arask may talks to Barris about his fears of losing the investigations. Oslim may remind him that the resistance do not exist him to solve everything alone. Lala may arrive and be rejected by the group. Dennis may explain why she revealed Arask feeling. Toyman may stand outside the camp, unable to decide whether he belonged with the resistance or with the family that caused their pain. Night Sense would allow the episode to show down and show the emotional meaning behind the larger conflict. Araz may remember his first day at the home. At flashback could show him arriving after the accident, confused and still waiting for his family to return. He may remember being told that Damer had survived but was sent elsewhere. These memories would explain why the closures feels like another accident. Once again, a place and family are being taken away without his permissions. The difference is that Aras is no longer as helpful child. He can resist this contract could become the emotional heart of the episode. Saving the home would not only protect the other resistance, it would allow Aras to defend the younger persons of himself who had no power. The younger resistance may look to Aras for hope, creating even greater pressure. A child could ask whether they will really be separated or whether Arask promises to keep them together. Arask might give a confident answers while privately knowing that he cannot guarantee anything. This kind of sense would show that both courage and fear. He wants to become the person he needed when he was younger, but he is still only 17. Adults with money and authority have created a problem that he is expecting to solve through determinations. The series may use this contract to criticize the way valuable young people are often forced to become strong too early. The title Daha 17 or Still 17 gains special meaning through these situations. Aras behave with the responsibility of an adult, but they remain a teenager carrying years of trauma. People expect him to control his anger, protect his friends, solve a family mystery, resist a powerful household, and make difficult romantic choices. Very few adults around him offers honest guidance. Some use him, some fear him, and others admire him without removing the burdens he carries. Episode 9 may remind viewers that his strength should not make them forget his age. He deserves protections too, even if we rarely ask for it. The authority responsible for closing the home could arrive during the protest. They may present official document and say the decisions cannot be changed. Aras and his friend might block the entrance peacefully, refusing to allow their belongings to be removed. Cameras or phones could record the confrontations. If officers are ordered to clear the area, the sense could become tense without turning into a physical battle. Arask may insist that everyone remain calm because one violent action could give Sabnam the excuse she needs. His ability to control the group would demonstrate growth from the impulsive young man who first arrived in boardrooms. A public video of protests could spread quickly. This would introduce outside pressure on the Akaya family. People who attend the charity event may recognize Arask may question why a family claiming to support children is connected to the closures of their home. The contract would be demanding the fashion event allow the Akaya to present themselves as generous, but the protest could reveal that their charity is connected to image rather than compassion. Hakan may realize that the family must act before the story grows. He could arrange a press statement, blame a misunderstanding, or publicly offers sports while privately threatening Aras. This public conflict might give Aras access to people's who about his past. Media tensions could cause an old witness to recognize his name or face someone connected to the accident. Damar adoptions or Sehrat may contact him in that way. The home's closures could unexpectedly move the brothers' investigations forward. Sabnam's attempts to remove Araz could make him more visible than more. Secrets are easier to protect when the person asking question is isolated. Once may people begin watching, controlling the story becomes more difficult. Sehrat may understand this and decide that speaking to Aras is the safest option. Hakan can hide or silence one man, but doing so becomes risky when public attention surrounded the case. Sehrat may offer evidence in exchange for protections. He could process adoptions records, photographs, recording, or information about who ordered him to contact Aras. The key question would then become whether Aras can trust him. Sehrat has already made deals with powerful people. He may cares more about civil than justice. Aras will need to separate useful evidence from an other's attempt and manipulation. If Sehrat says Toyman is Damar, Aras may intently refuse to believe him. All thought Aras suspected Toyman because of the tattoo. Their repeated violence has created emotional resistance. Finding a brother is supposed to bring belief, but these answers would bring greater pain. Aras might demand a test document or childhood details. Sehrat could describe the accident or adoptions process in a way that only someone involved would know. Yet, even strong evidence may not feel real to Aras until Toyman remembers something himself. Toyman viewed emotional during the protest would be connected to a childhood memory, seeing the resistance outside the home, hearing a strong watching Aras protecting a young child, or witnessed a fire may trigger an image from the past. The official information only said that this suppressed feeling moved beyond his control, so the exact cause remain unconfirmed. Would make sense because Toyman identity appears linked to the central mystery. He may see fragments to two boys, a road of frightening voice, or a symbol connected to a crow tattoo. He may not immediately understand what the memory means, but it could weaken his trust in the stories Sabnam has told him. A breakdown from Toyman would create a different kind of conflict. Instead of attacking Aras, he may suddenly become unable to breathe, speak clearly, or control his fears. Aras could be the persons who help him. Despite everything Toyman has done, this would show the difference between them. Aras may hate Toyman actions, but he is unlikely to ignore someone is real distract. Helping him could confuse both young man. Toyman would have to face the fact that Aras showed him kindness when his own family gave him lines. Arask might feel unexplained, insist to protect him. Strength thinks he is suspicious that their connection is deeper than rivalry. Dennis could witness this moment and understand that Toyman anger hides serious emotional damage. She may stay with him after Arask leaving, asking him what he remembered. Toymans could refuse to answer, ashamed that anyone saw him lose control. Dennis may tell him that fear does not make him weak, but hurting others because of fear is still strong. Such a conversation would allow her to spot him without excusing him. It could also shift their relationship away from jealousy and toward genius understanding. Lala's emotional turning point may occur after she hears that Arask loves her. She could return to the garden and demand that he stop deciding what she can handle. Arask may tell her that everyone tells her as an Akaya and that staying will only increase the dangers. Lala could answer that begins an Akaya is exactly why she must stay. She may admit that she cannot change her family name but can choose what he does with it. This would be a strong and simple expression of her growth. Eras may still resistance because accepting Lala's sports means accepting emotional valuability. Searching for damage has given him a clear mission. While loves create uncertainty, he knows how to follow clues, confront enemies, and survive physical dangers. He does not know how to trust someone with the parts of himself that remain frightening. Lala represents a future beyond the search. That possibility may scares him. What happens if he finds Demmer and still feels incomplete? What happens if he has allowed himself to love Lala and loses her, pushing her away, protects him from those questions? Lala may finally understand that Ara's emotional distance is not a problem she can solve through a romantic confess alone. He needs him honesty and safety. She may tell him that she will not force him to speak, but she will also despair simply because she orders her to leave. This balanced response would be more powerful than another argument. It will show that love can include patience without expecting disrespect. Aras may not respond immediately, but the world could remain with him during the rest of the episode. Dennis' place after this conversation may become painful by telling Lala the trust she helps bring Aras and Lala closer. She may then stop away from the camp and finally allow herself to cry. Toyman could find her creating a sense where both characters are dealing with rejections and family pain. However, the episode should avoid making them a couple only because they feel unwanted by others people. A healthier beginning would be a quieter conversations where neither promises romance. They simply recognize the lone lies in each other's. The protest may success temporary rather than permanently. Official could delay the closures after public pressure, giving the resistance more time but not guaranteed their futures. This would provide hope without ending the storyline too easily. Aras and this friend would celebrate a small victory while understanding that Sabnam can make another move. Hakan might public romance announce that the Akaya family will support the home, turning their resistance into an opportunity for his own reputation. Aras could know that the battle is not over. Sabnam could respond to the delay by becoming more dangerous. She may realize that legal and public method cannot remove Aras, leading her to target his investigations directly. If Sehrat hits a weak point, she may order someone to move him before Aras can ask future questions. Alternatively, she may create evidence suggestions that Aras caused troubles at the home, hoping to save him arrested or sent away. Her fear increased each time Aras survived, and fear may head her to make mistake. Hakan, however, may begins questioning whether protecting the secret is worth destroying his family. Toyman hated them. Lela is moving closer to Aras, and Sebnam choices are creating public scandals. The past they try to hide is already shaping every part of their present. Hakan may understand that continuing the line will eventually cost more than telling the trust, yet admitting what happens could expose him to legal or moral consequence. His administrations for Arask may therefore contain guilt. He sees a young man suffering because adults may decide for their own battlefield. A private conversation between Hakan and Aras could become one of the strongest scenes. Hakan may tell him that courage is not enough to protest everyone, warning that leadership requires compromise. Aras could answer that Hakan uses the word compromise when he really means surrender. Hakan may offer support from the home, and Aras' home may ask for the trust about Demar instead. This would show that Aras cannot be distracted by money. The home matters deeply, but so does Justice. Hakan could reveal a small part of the past without naming Demar. He may admit that Aras was brought to boredom because someone wanted the trust exposed. He could warn that Sehrat knows enough to endanger several people. Aras would then ask why Hakan is hiding him. Hakan might claim he is protecting Sehrat from someone some more dangerous, creating uncertainty about whether an other's enemy exists outside the Akaya family. Such a development would widen the mystery and prevent the story from becoming too predictable. There may be a person above Sehrat who organized the messengers as used him as a messenger. These persons could be connected to the accident, the adoptions, or Aras parents. If so, the search for Demar is part of a larger plan. Aras may have been brought to boredom not only to routines with his brother but to force the Akaya into revealing something. Sehrat could be trapped between this burden person and Hakaya. Episode 9 may give the first clear sign that the mystery extends beyond one family. The accident that killed Arask's parents remain the foundation of the story. The more the Akaya resistance the question, the less accidental the tragedy appears. It is possible that the crash involved and other vehicles are planned meeting our information. Arask's parents intended to reveal Damar's survivals and adoptions may have been hidden because he witnessed something. The brothers could have been separated deliberately to prevent them from connecting their memories. This idea remains theories unless confirmed by the series, but episode 9 focus on Sehrat could finally provide evidence supporting to reject them. Era's emotional response to new information will matter as much as information itself. He has built much of his identity around finding Stammer. If Sehrat tells him that his brothers has known about him but chooses to remain hidden, Arask may feel deeply betrayed. He has always imaged Demar as an other's victim, waiting to be found. Learning that Demar may have avoiding him would create anger and self-doubt. Arask might wonder whether his brothers remember him, hates him, or believe a false story about their family. Sehrat could explain that Damar was told Arask had died. This would mirror Arask's experience of receiving false information about his brothers. Both young men may have grown up believing they were alone because adults controlling the trust. Such revelations would keep Damar sympathetic even if he has not searched for Arask. It would also strengthen the themes that identity can be shaped by lies repeated over many years. If Toyman is damaged, Sabna may have raised him while knowledge exactly who he was. Her extreme fear of Arask would then make complete sense. This is not simply word that Arask will influence Toyman. She is terrified that Arask will take him away or expose the Christmas dance of his adoptions. Her possessive behavior may come from genius love mixed with guilt. She may believe that hiding the trust was necessary to protect the child she raised. Yet, love built on stolen identity and deceptions cannot remain safe forever. This possibility would make Sapnams more than a simple villain. She may have made terrible choice while believing she was saving a child. Over time, protecting that choice required from lies and increasing cruel action. The series could show how fear turns protections into control. She may truly love Toyman, but her refusals to respect his right to know the trust harm him. Episode 9 statement that Toyman now hates family suggests that her method has already begins to fail. Arask and Sabna may confront each other at the home. She could arrive expecting to see a defeated young man and instead find him surrounded by friends, sports, and camera. Arask may directly accuse her of arranging the closers. Sabnams could deny it, telling him that he brings troubles however he goes. Arask my answers that the troubles begins long before he arrives and that his experience only made it visible. These conversations could bring their conflict into the open. Leila may stand between them, forcing Sabnams to see that attacking Araz also means attacking her relationship with her daughter. Stoyman watched from a distance, stones between his anger toward Araz and his hatred toward his family. Dennis may try to protect younger resistance from the arguments. Hakan could arrive and take control of the public situation while privately warning Sabnam that she has gone too far. The scenes would bring nearly every major character into the same locations, allowing their conflict to collide naturally. The closer storylines may also give Mattens another opportunity to help. Arask Martin has spotted him during parts of the investigations and could assist with fighting Sahara or collecting evidence while Arask romantic remains at the camp. Martins may follow Hakan or search a location connected to Sahara. He could then contact Arask with urgent information, forcing him to leave the protest. This will connect the two main storylines without making the episode feel divided. Martins may also act as the persons who remind Aras to think carefully before confronting Sahrat. Aras's desperation can make him act too quickly. If the threat Sahrat, the man may refuse to speak or provide false information. Method could suggest record the conversations or bringing proof that Hakans cannot easily deny his particles. Thinking would balance Aras emotionally urgency. When Aras reaches Sahara, the scenes should begin quality rather than with immediate shouting. Aran may see that Sahara is injured, frightening, or begins head again. his will. This could change how he approached him. Instead of treating Sahrat only as an enemy, Arask may recognize another person trapped by Hakan's secret. He might often protection is exchanged for honesty. Sahrat may laughed at the idea that a 17 years old and protect him from the Akaya, but Aras could point to the public protest and growing attentions from the first time. Sahrat believed that speaking is less dangerous than remaining silent. Sahrat could confirm that he sent the anonymous message bringing Aras to boardrooms. He may say he did it because the trust and remained hidden too long or because someone orders him to do it. Aras would taken ask the only question that matters, where is Damer? The episode could end the sense before the full answers, but it should provide a major clue. Sahrat might look toward a photograph of Toyman mentions the Akaya name or say that Arask has already met his brothers. The word "you have already met him" would create a powerful cliffhanger. Without fully confirming the identity, Arask would mentally review everyone he has encountered. Toyman would be the obvious possibility, but the series could still introduce doubt. Sahrat might then lose consciousness, be interrupted, or be taken away. Aras would return to the camp carries and answers that feel close but remain incomplete. Another possible reveal is that Sahrat tells Arax the person he believes is Damer is not actually Damer. This would overturn the tattoo clue and force Arax to restart the search. However, after so many episodes, completely removing Toyman from the mystery might feel unsatisfying unless another strong connection is introduced. A better twist would be that Toyman's identity is linked to Damer but not in the way Eras expect. Perhaps records were changed, two children were confused, or the name Damer was transferred to protect someone. Whatever the exact reveal, episode 9 appears designed to bring Eras and Toyman closer to the same trust. Their rivalry can continue only so long before the story explains why their lives are connected. The protest provides the perfect setting because it exposes their different experience of family. Arask stand beside people who choose and others, while Toyman watch his biological or adoptive family collapse under the weight of secret. The trust about brotherhood may embarrass at the moment both young men are questioning where they belong. The episode endings may involve more than one cliffhanger. The home could receive a temporary rescue while Sahrat gives Aras a shocking clue. Laila could find evidence against Sebnam's. Toyman could recover a childhood memory. Dennis could decide to step away from Aras and spot Toyman. These developments could happen in quick order, creating emotional momentum for episode 10. A particularly strong final sequence will begin with the resistance celebrating news that the closure has been delayed. Aras could smile with his friend but remain distracted by Sahrat words. Leila would approach ready to speak about their feelings, but Arask would see Toyman across the garden. A childhood memory of detail from Sahrat would suddenly connect. Arask might look at Toyman differently from the first time, not an enemy but as a possible brother. Toyman would notice the stare and become defensive before Aras could speak. Toyman might experience another flash of memory. The episode would end with both recognizing that something between them is changing. The latest update, therefore, promises much more than another romantic argument or family disagreement. Episode 9 brings the meanings of home to the center of the story. Aras is fighting for a building, but more importantly, he is fighting against another forced separation. He was separated from Damar when he was too young to stop it. How he refuses to watch his same kind of lose happens to his friend. His resistance is not only political or particle, it is deeply personal. The episode also challenged every character to decide what family means. For Aras, family is both the brothers he speaks and the friend beside him. From Leila may no longer mean automatically begin the Akaya from Dennis. Love may require honesty even when honesty accuses pain. For Toyman, family has become a source of rage because he suspects it was built online. For Sabnam's family is something he tries to hold together through control. For Hakan, family is connected to reputations, power, and secrets. These different ideas will collide during the fight for the home. Era's greatest achievement may not be defeating Stabnam or forcing Sahrar to speak. It may be learning that he does not have to face every battle alone. He arrived in Bodrum believing that finding Damar was a journey only he could complete. Over time, Lala, Paris, Oslam, Matin, Dennis, and even Toyman have become connected to that journey. Some support him openly, some challenge him, and some stand against him, but none can remain untouched by the trust he is seeking. The danger is that Arask may become so focused on protecting everyone that he forgets his own limits. The stress of the closures, Sehrat informations, Lala pain, Dennis confessions, and Toyman aggressions could put him toward execution. Episode 9 should allow him at least one moment where his confidence breaks. He may admit to Paris or Aslam that he does not know how to save the home. This would not make him weak, it would make him later's courage more believable. A friend could answer that they are not asking him to save them alone. They are asking him to remain beside them. That message captures the difference between leadership and sacrifice. Arask does not need to become a hero standing above everyone else. He needs to become part of a group that act together. These lessons may later help him when his family finds Tamar. Our brothers cannot be rescued like an object. He must be understood, trusted, and allowed to make him own choices. Lala may learn a similar lessons. She cannot prove her love by demanding that Aras immediately chooses her. She can prove it by acting according to her values. Even when he is too afraid to accept her sports, Dennis cannot make Aras love her through patience or sacrifice, but she can choose honesty and protect her own dignity. Toyman cannot heal by defeating Arask because Arask is not the source of lie that shape his life. Each young character must stop trying to control another person and begin taking responsibility for personal choices. The adults face the same challenge, though they have avoided it much longer. Sabnam and Akan have treated trust as something they can manage. They decide who knows, who remains silent, who is sent away, and which story becomes official. Erard represents a force they cannot fully control because he has less to lose than they do. He does not possess their money or status, but he also does not depend on the false image they are desperate to protect. The closures of the Home may become Sabnam's greatest mistake because it makes the hidden conflict visible. Until now, many of her actions have happened inside private rooms through threat manipulations or secret agreements targeting an institutions full of young resistance create witness. Each child can tell the story, each phone can record events, each supporters can ask why the closures happened so suddenly that trust may spread before Sabnam may contain it. Hakan may attempt to separate himself from the decisions, claiming he knew nothing about it. Aras is unlikely to believe him. Even if Sabnam had acted alone, Hakan helped create the environment in which she believed such as actions was acceptable. His silence protected her previous choices. Episode 9 could begin the process of making him responsible not only for what he directly orders but also for what he allowed. Toyman reactions to Hakan praises of Arask may become exclusive. He may excuse Hakan of wishing Arask were his son. The statement could carry more trust than Toyman realizes. If Toyman and brothers or if Hakan knows more about their identities, his response may reveal guilt. He might hesitate, become unusually emotional, or refuse to answer. Toyman could notice that reactions and begin asking questions of his own. Once Toyman starts investigating, the Akayas will face pressures from two directions. Arask search from outside while Toyman search for inside. Lala may also uncover information, creating three young people challenging the small wall of security. Sabnam cannot easily remove all of them without destroying the family she claims to protect. This shift may define the next stage of the series. Episode 9 could therefore be remembered as the point where Toyman Straw begins only an obscure and becomes another seeker of trust. His method may remain aggressive and he may still attack Aras emotionally or physically, but his target will slowly change. Instead of fighting only to protect the Akaya family, he may fight to learn what they have done to him. This change would not create immediate friendship with Aras. In fact, two angry young men searching for the same trust could become even more dangerous together. Denise may be first person to recognize this shift. She could see that Toyman's anger toward Arask is beginning to mix with fear about their connections rather than telling him what to believe. She may encourage him to ask Sabnam direct questions. Toyman could reject her advice publicly. The follow is privately. His confrontations with Sabnams may reveal that she knows the meaning of the crow tattoo or the name Demmer. The tattoo remains one of the clearest visual symbols in the story. For Aras, it represents hope that the brother he lost may be close. For Toyman, it may represent an identity he chose without knowing his full meaning, for a memory connected to his childhood. If Sabnam reacts strongly when the tattoo is mentioned, Toyman may finally understand that this is more than decorations. Episode 9 could use a closer view of the tattoo during his emotional breakdown, connecting the present conflict to the hidden past. The garden protests also give the series a place where social address class difference become visible. The resistance sit outside with simple belongings are contains where They will sleep in the futures. The Akaya arrive in expensive vehicles with lawyer security or officials, yet the emotional strength belongs to the young people in the garden. They have little material power, but their unity gives them a moral authority the wealthy family cannot purchase. Lala crossing from the Akaya side to the resistance side would be a powerful image. She may begin standing near her family and then physically move to stand beside Aras. These simple actions would communicate her voice choice without requiring a long speech. Samnam would see it as a betrayal. Arask might see it as dangerous. The resistance might remain suspicious, yet Lala would finally be acting according to her own judgment. Toyman may make the opposite movement. He could arrive beside the Akayas but slowly separate from them as the trust becomes clear. He may not join Ara's group, but standing alone between both sides would reflect his identity crisis. He no longer trusts his family. Yet he cannot accept Arask. He belongs everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Denise may also stand between groups because of her feelings and family relationships. She could move freely among Arask, Lela, and Toyman carrying information and emotional tensions. Unlike the others, her conflict is not based mainly on money or the brothers' mystery. Her struggles is about being seen and valued. Episode 9 may allow her to stop mirroring herself through Ara's attentions and make an independent choice. By the end of the episode, Dennis may accept that Arask loves Lala. Acceptance does not mean her feelings despair, it means she stopped building hope around the possibility that Lala and Arask will fail. This growth could open a new direction for her characters. She may focus on supporting the home, challenging her mothers, or understanding Toyman without immediately turning the connections into romance. Aras and Lala may not officially become a couple in the episode even after the trust about his feeling is revealed. The emotional conditions remain too unstable. A more believable development would be a private promise that they will speak honestly. When the immediate danger passes, Lela could tell him she will remain and Aras could finally stop ordering her away. Their relationship would move forward through trust rather than and other dramatic declarations. The larger romantic question is not simply which person Aras chooses. The real question is whether Aras believes he deserves a life that includes love. His search for Damar is connected to guilt and duty. He may face that happen is impossible until Lala presents challenge that belief by offering care in the present. Dana's confessions also show that people see value in him beyond missions. Episode 9 may begin teaching Arask that accepting love does not mean avoiding Damar. The final confrontations with Sahrat could interrupt any moment of emotional peace just as Arask begins to believe the home may be saved. He may receive a message revealing Sahrat's location. The episode would then move from the public gardens to a dark, insulated place. This change in setting would create suspense. Arask could relieve the warmth of his chosen family and enter the hidden world of the Akaya secret. Hakan may already be waiting there. They could also I ask that some trust cause more than rejective. The idea saying the lies have already harmed everyone Hakan's made then allow him to speak Sehrat, confidence that fear will keep the man silent. Yet Sehrat could decide that Hakan no longer has enough to power to protect him. His first honest sentence might change the entire series. Sehrat may say that Tamar did not despair by accident. Someone chose the family that adopted him. Someone ensured that the brothers' record was separated. Someone continued watching both of them. Arask would ask who made those decide. Sehrat might look toward Hakan, suggested his involvement, or name an other person's whose role has not yet been revealed. If Hakan is directly connected to Demar adoptions, his relationship with Toy Man, before even more suspicious, he may have brought Demar into Akaya home, changed his name and raised him as Toy Man. Sebnams may have agreed because he wanted a child, because she felt responsible for the accident, or because keeping Demar close allowed them to control what he remembers. These remain predictions, but the story has created enough clue to make such a possibility important. And other possibility is that Hakan may not adopt Demir but help another family do so. Tolman may then be connected through friendship, shared treatment, or an exchange identity. This would preserve the mystery while still explaining Hakan fear. Sehrat information could clarify which part of their theory is correct. The episode may end before Arask noticed the claim. Sehrat could private the name of hospitals, lawyer, orphanage work, or adoptions file. Arask would then have a new restrictions for episode 10. This would be satisfying because it moved the investigations forward with a constant clue rather than another anonymous message. Meanwhile, the persons responsible for the original plan may learn that Sehrat has spoken. These hidden figures could end someone to recover the evidence or silence him. Arask might leave the locations believing the family has control, only to discover that the danger has increased. The mystery would then move beyond emotional secret into a direct threat. The resistance of the home may also become targets. When Arask enemies understand how much he creates about them, they could use the group to control him. This makes saving the buildings only the first step. Arask must also protect the pupils inside it. His friend, for however, may refuse to be threat. A helpless Barry's Oslam and the others could become active partners in the investigations. One of them may have recorded Sabnam threat or discovered a connections between the Closures Order and the Akaya Foundations. This evidence could be saved for later, giving the resident leverage. Their participation would strengthen the idea that the story is no longer only Aras against the Akayas. It is a wider group demanding trust for pupils who believe power places them above consequence. Episode 9 Emotional Power will depend on balance. The story contains the home's closures, the brother mystery, romantic tensions, Toyman's breakdown, family conflict, and Sehrat informations. Each storyline needs its own purpose. The closer should reveal Arask's leadership. The romantic conflict should reveal his fear of closeness. Toyman's anger should reveal his identity crisis. Sahrat's sense should provide real moment in the mystery. When these parts support one another, the episode can feel intense without becoming confusing. The official preview already showed that the home Era's feeling for Lala, Toyman's growing hatred, Hakan administration, and Sahrat knowledge will be central. Outside remain unknown before broadcast, but the direction is clear. Every major relationship is reaching a point where silence is becoming impossible. Arask can no longer hide his feeling from Laila forever. Dennis can no longer pretend she feels nothing. Toyman can no longer trust the family story without questions. Hakan can no longer admire Arask while continuing to hide the trust without facing the constructions. Sebnam can no longer attack Arax privately now that her choices threatens as an entire community. Sahrat can no longer survive by making deals with everyone. This is why episode 9 may becoming a turning point rather than a simple continuation. The characters are being pushed out of the positions they have held since the beginning. Aras changed from a lonely investigator into a public leader. Lala changes from a protected daughter into a person forced to choose a side. Dennis changed from a silent admirer into someone who speaks difficult trust. Toyman changed from a confident aggression into a young man questioning his identity. The Akaya parents changed from controllers of the story into people losing control. The biggest victory for Akayas would not be receiving every answer at home. It would be providing that Sabnams cannot removing him by destroying his home. If the resistance remain together, even temporarily, Arask will understand that resistance can protect what matters, that confidence may prepares him from the harder trust about Damer. The biggest dangers for Arask would be allowing angers to control him. Sabnam and Hakan deliberately provoke him, hoping he will create a reasons for the authorities to act. Toyman may attack him again after hearing Hakan's praise. Sahrat may refuse to speak. Lala may accuse him of pushing her away. Any one of these events could make him lose control. Episode 9 will show whether he has learned from earlier mistakes. Era's most powerful weapons is not physical strength, it is useful to accept the false choices created by powerful people. Sebnam may tells him he must choose between the home and his brothers. Hakan may tell him to must choose between safety and trust. Arask may find a third path, they involving his friends, exposing the closers and forcing Sahrat to speak. This ability to reject unfair choices is what makes him dangerous to the Akayas. Lala's strongest act will be refusing to let Arask choose his husband. She may understand his fear, but she can still demand respect. If she stands beside the resistance can challenge Sabnam, she will become an active force into the story. Her relationship with Arask will then be based on shared struggles rather than attractions alone. Danny's strongest act will be telling Lala the trust despite her own feelings that decisions may hurt her, but it gives her emotional control. She is no longer waiting for Arask to notice her. She is deciding what kind of person she wants to be. Her next relationship, whether with Toyman or someone else will be healthier if he begins. After she makes peace with their choices, Toyman's strongest act would be questioning his family instead of attacking Eras. Even one honest question could begin his transformations. He does not need to become good immediately, he only needs to stop accepting the lie that Aras is responsible for every painful feelings inside him. Once he understands that the real conflict began before Aras arrived, his angers may finally point toward the people who created the secret. Sebnam's greatest fear is not losing the family reputation, it is losing the emotional ownership she believes she has over Toyman and Lala Aras, threatening that ownership because he encouraged both of them to question her decisions. Closing the home is therefore an attempt to remove not only a person's but an influence. When the plan fails, he fears may becomes even more extreme. Hakan's greatest conflict is between control and convenience. He can enough information to understand the damage being done, but he continues trying to manage the outcome. His administrations of Eras suggest that part of him recognizes the young man's moral strength rather than recognitions. Becoming actions remain become uncurtains. He may help Aras only when protecting the trust becomes more dangerous than revealing it. Sahrad's greatest choice is between another deal and a confession. Every deal has kept him alive temporarily while placing him in greatest dangers. Speaking honesty may be his only chance to escape, yet trust could also make him a target. His decisions may determine how quickly Aras reaches Tamir. The resistance' greatest strength is their unity. Sebnam expects them to become frightening and separate quietly, camping outside the home, showing that they understand separation is exactly what the decision is designed to achieve. Their resistance tells Arask that he is not the only person willing to fight. It also tells the audience that family can be created through loyalty, not only blood. By the closing moment of episode 9, Arask may stand between two homes. Behind him will be the institutions and the friend he has vowed to protect. In front of him will be the Akaya family at the possibility that Damer has been hidden in their worlds are along. He will also have protected one family while moving closer to another. Yet the trust may reveal that these two parts of his life were connected from the beginnings. The episode 9 may reveal viewer with one final question. What will Arask do if finding his brothers means destroying the family that raised him? Arask wants the trust, but the trust will affect Lala, Toyman, Dennis, Sebnam, Zakan, and every person who have becomes involved. There may be no way to reveal it without causing pain. Still, continuing the lie would cause even more dangerous. That is the central promise of the new episode. The story is no longer asking whether Arask will find another clue. If is asking whether the find around him are ready for what that clue may reveal. The home closers forces everyone into the open. Love is spoken around. Haters can no longer be hidden. All loyalties begins to break. Sahrat is finally within Arask reach. Toyman emotions are close to exploding. Sebnam actions are becoming visible. Hakan control is weakening. Aras came to boredom searching for one person, but his journey has uncovered an entire network of wounded relationships, has hidden choices. Episode 9 may not give me every answers, but it appears ready to remove several important barriers. The fight outside the home will show who truly stand with him. The confrontation with Sahrat will show how close he is to Damar. The conversation with Lala and Dennis will show whether he can face love with same courage he brings to dangers. Toyman reactions will show whether their rivalry is moving toward a deeper trust. For the first time, Arask may realize that saving his friends or finding his brothers are not separate goals. Both struggles come from the same refusals to accept forced separations. As a child, he could not stop adults from deciding his futures. At 17, he is determined not let them make the same decisions again, whether he succeeded or failed. His resistance changed everyone around him. Episode 9 therefore has the potential to become one of the most important chapters of Daha 17 so far. It brings the emotional themes of family, belonging, identity, love, class, and trust into one central conflict. The resistance are fighting to keep their home. Lala is fighting to choose her own side. Dennis too fighting to accept an answer she may not want. Toyman is fighting memory and emotion he does not understand. Sebnam is fighting to maintain control. Hakan is fighting to protect secrets that are becoming impossible to contain. Sahrat is fighting to survive at the center of everything. Aras is fighting to prevent another family from being provoked apart. The official preview leaves the audience at the edge of several major answers. Will the resistance save the home? Will Lala remain beside Aras after learning the truth about his feelings? Will Daniel step away or continue hoping? Will Troyman Angers expose a hidden memory? Will Hakan stop Sebnam's plan or use the crisis of his own benefits? Will Sahrat finally reveals where Damar is? Most importantly, will Aras understand that the brothers he has searched for may already be standing closer than he ever imagined? Whatever happened, the balance of power is changing. The Akayas will have money, influence, and access to information, but Aras now has something they cannot easily remove, people willing to stand beside him. His friend refuses to leave the home. Lala is questioning her family. Dennis is speaking honestly. Toyman is beginning to hate the lie surrounding him. Sahrat may be ready to talk. Each change weakens the wall built around the past. The battle ahead not be easy. Saving the homes may require more than one night of resistance. Discovering Damar's identity may bring pain rather than immediate happiness. Arask and Lala may continue hurting each other while learning how to communicate. Dennis may needs time to recover from rejections. Toyman may become more dangerous before he begins to change. Sebnam may take an even darker step when she realizes his control is despairing. Yet episode 9 also carries hope. The young resistance refuse to be treated like object that can be moved without a voice. Arask refuses to stop searching. Lala refuses to accept the role chooses for her. Dennis refuses to continue hiding. Even Toyman may begin refusing the identity created by his family. Their resistance takes different form, but it comes from the same desires, the right to know the trust and choose where the belongs. As the night begins outside the home, Aras may look around at the first sleeping in the garden and understand something important. He has spent years believing he was alone because Damar was missing, but he was never completely alone. The people beside him have already become brother or sisters through everything they survive. Together's fightings, Damar remains his deepest wish, but his life is no longer empty while he searches. This understanding may give Aras the strength to face Sahrat without desperations controlling him. He can demand that trust because he knows that his entire future does not depend on one answer. Whether Stammer welcome him, reject him, or turns out to be someone unexpected, Arask still has people who know and love him. That emotional security one becomes the key is to surviving. Whether the Akaya secret reveals the final image may show Aras turning to the garden after speaking with Sahrat. His face will reveal that he has learned something serious. The others may celebrate a small victory over the closers, but he will remain silent. Lala may notice the change and ask what happens. Arask may look toward Toyman's look forward answering in that moment. The audience will understand that the next stage of the story has already begun. Daha 17 is now moving from the search from clue toward the consequence of trust. Episode 9 places every character near our decisions that cannot easily be resolved. Once Layla openly chooses Arask's side, she cannot return to blind obedience. Once Dennis reveals his love, the romantic uncertainty changes forever. Once Toyman challenges his family, their control over him weakness. Once Aras speaks, the hidden story begins to collapse. When Aras leads the protect, he becomes more than a young man searching for his brothers. He becomes someone capable of challenging the entire system that separated them. That is the latest situation as episode 9 approaches. The home is threatening, the resistance are resisting. Sabnam plan is becoming visible. Lala is caught between family and consequence. Dennis is preparing to reveal Arask feeling. Toyman is turning against the Akaya. Hakan is showing unexpected respect for Arask, and Sahrat may finally provide the answers. Arask has reaped everything to obtain every storyline is moving toward the same question. When the trust finally arrives, who have will courage accept it? Daha 17. The night that changed everything. The coming night may become the most important night. Arask has since arriving is boredom. Until now, he has moved through the city like a young man followed a road that only he can see. Every clue about Tamar has pulled him forward. Even when the people around him warned him to stop, he has accepted threats, lies, physical attack, and emotional pain because he believed that fighting his brothers will finally give meaning to everything he lost. However, the possible closures to the children's home changes the directions of his struggles. Arask is no longer fighting only for a missing person who has passed. He is fighting for people standing beside him in the present. The garden outside the home may look like a simple place, but one night it became the center of a much larger battle. Blankets are placed on the ground, bags are carried outside, and frightening young people try to hide their fear behind brave smiles. Some of them still believe the authorities will change their decisions. Others quietly prepare themselves for the possibility that this may be their final night together. Aras watches every face and understands that they are waiting for him to lead them. He does not know whether he can save the home, but he knows he cannot allow him to feel avoidance. He can experience that feelings too many times himself. A task which probably begins the protest with confidence because he understands that fear can quickly spread through a group. He may tell everyone that they will remain peaceful and refuse to give Sabnam or the authorities any reasons to describe them as dangerous. His word will strong, but inside he will be carrying serious doubt. Aras is still 17. He does not have lawyer, political influence, or larger amount of money. The people working against him have all three. What he has is determination and the loyalty of friends who trust him. That loyalty gives him strength, but it also increases the pressure if he makes the wrong decisions. Other young people may suffer because they followed him. He may walk around the garden checking that the younger children have enough blanket and food. He may speak privately with those who are caring and promises that they will not face the next day alone. This small movement can reveal more about his leadership than any loud speech. Arask does not become important because he wants power. He becomes important because he noticed people who are normally ignored. The resistance knows that he understands their fears because he has lived with the same fear. He is not an outsider trying to become their hero, he is one of them. And that connection resistance much more powerful than Sabnam expect. Barras may become the particle force behind the protest, while Aras focused on the emotional conditions of the resistance. Barris can begin organizing the details that will keep the protest alive. He may collect phones, charges, water, food, and constant numbers. He could ask friends in the city to visit the homes and share information online. He may also warn everyone not to post angry threads that could later be used against them. Barras understands that the modern battles will not open the modern battles will not happen only at a gate. It will happen on social media, is local news, and in public opinion. In enough people understand why the young resistance refuses to leave, the authorities may be forced to delay their decisions. Barry's love role will show that courage can take difference from Arask is ready to stand directly in front of dangers, while Barris may protect the group by taking several steps ahead. Their friendship becomes stronger because they do not need to behave in the same way. Barris can tell Arask when his anger is becoming risky, and Arask can remind Barris why they cannot accept an unfair compromise. Together they form a balance that the group needs. Sabnam may believes Aras is not only outscales, but she will discover that removing him would not end the resistance. His friends here learn from him, and they are beginning to act with their own confidence. Oslam may take responsibility for keeping the younger resistance calm. She knows that the closure is not only a legal or political problem, it is an emotional disaster for children who already carried the pain of losing their first homes. Some may be believing they are begins moved because they did something wrong. Others may fear that they will never see their friends again. Oslam can move between them, explaining the situation with honesty. But without increasing their panic, she may organize simple activities in the garden so that the night feels less frightening. Music, share food, old stories, or even small jokes can create a sense of normal life during Entertain's moment. Oslam may also challenges Erask when he tries to carry every responsibility alone. She could tell him that standing beside the resistance does not mean solving every problem by himself. Her word may be difficult from him to accept because Erask has spent years believing that depending on their pupils leads to disappointment. He accepts pupils to live, lie, or become targets. Oslam can remind him that trust is not weakness. The home became a family because everyone helped and one another. If Aras refused their help, he is not protecting that family. He is pressing distance between himself and the people who love him. These lessons may become important when his search for Damar reaches its most painful point. A darkness cover the garden. The first sign of public sport may begins to appear. Local resistance could arrive carrying from or warm drinks. Some may know the young people personally, while others may have seen their messages online. Our teachers may come to speak about the progress the children have made. As shopkeepers may explain that several resistance work nearby and are part of the community. These visitors can change the atmospheres. The young men are used to feeling invisible, but now adults from outside the institutions are standing beside them. The attentions may also create a dangers because it makes the closures more difficult to hide. Sabnam wanted the resistance moved quietly. She may have expected official affairs papers to the delivered buses to arrive and the young pupils to accept the decisions because they had no power. A public protest destroy that plan. Every new witness creates another question about why the closures happened so quickly. Every photograph of children sleeping outside damages the image of the people responsible. Arask may understand that panic public sport is their strongest protection. He can encourage everyone to tell they are serious without exaggeration. The trust is already powerful enough. They do not need to invent anything, they only need to explain what their homes mean and why a separation could respond that have never fully healed. Lela arrive at the protest can create immediate tensions. She may come without the comfort to protections normally connected to the Akaya family. Perhaps she arrives alone, carrying food, blanket, or information. Her intentions will be to spot Aras, but the resistance may not welcome her to them. She carries the same family name as the people threatening their homes. Some may accuse her of coming only to protect her public image. Others may say that she can return to a rich house whenever she becomes uncomfortable while they have nowhere else to go. Lala may feel hurt, but she cannot honestly say theirs anger is unreasonable. She has benefited from the same power now being used against them. Even if she did not arrange the closure, she belongs to the family that may be responsible. This is a moment when Lala must decide whether she wants understanding or whether she is ready to earn trust. She may place the supplies down and say she will leave if her presence creates more pain. However, she may also explain that she did not come to speak her family. She came because what is happening is wrong. The resistance may not accept her immediately, but choosing to remain respectful under their angers would show that her sport is serious. Arask may Leila and react more strongly than she expects. His first instinct would probably to be send her. He may tell her that the situation is dangerous, that the resistance are angry, and that Sabnam will use her presence and another excuse to attack him. Leila will hear the word, but she will also feel the rejections behind them. She has already risked conflict with her family because of Aras. She will has tried to understand his surge, defending him during difficult moment and during the moment, and refused to accept the versions of him created of Sabnams. Yet each time dangers become real, Aras pushes her outside his life. He calls it protection, but from Laila's position, it feels like a lack of trust. She may ask why is allowed to choose danger for himself by deciding that she is too weak to choose it. Arask may respond with anger because he does not have an honest answer. The trust is that losing Lala frightening him. He believes anyone who stands close to him eventually become hurt. His parents died, Damar disappeared, and other people connected to his investigations have faced threat. Keeping Lala away allow him to pretend he can control to risk her refusals to leave force him to face the fact that love cannot be managed like an investigation. Lala may refuse that her silence is more painful than the angers. She does not need promise that everything will be safe. She needs him to stop making decisions without her. Arask may look around at the resistance and say that this night is not bright. Their relationship, Lala could answer that she knows, which is why she came to harm rather than demand attention. The emotional conflict between them becomes stronger because both are partly correct. Arask is responsible for keeping the protest forcing, and a public romantic argument would only create directions. At the same time, Lala has the right to oppose her family and support her resistance. Aras cannot remove that right simply because he is afraid their conversations may end without a full solution. Lala may step back, but instead of leaving, she could begin helping Oslam with the younger resistance. This action would be more meaningful than another declaration of love. She would show Arask that she can support the growth without making herself the center of the situations. Arask may watch her from a distance, while worried. She quietly moves. She may begin to understand that Lala is not asking him to rescue her. She is asking him to see her as an equal. Danny's arrival can create a different emotional atmosphere. Unlike Lala, she may already know some of the resistance and understand that their daily life, her sport will feel natural, but she will be carrying the weight of the confessions. Ask now that she has feeling for him and Daniel's know that his heart is moving toward the Arask is fighting the story Arask is, but more importantly, he is fighting against another force. Separation. He was separated from Denmark when he was too young to stop it. Now he refused to watch the same kind of loss happens to his friend. His resistance is not only political or particle, it is deeply personal. The episode also challenged every character to decide what family means. From Akaya's family is both the brothers he seek the friend beside him. For Lala, family may no longer means automatically obey the Akayas. For Danny's love may require honesty even when honesty causes pain. For Toyman, family has becomes a source of rage because he suspects it will build on lies. For Sabnam, family is something she tries to hold together through control. For Hakan, family connected is reputations, power, and secrets. These different ideas will collide during the fight for the home. Ra's greatest achievement may not be defeating Sabnam or forcing Sahara to speak. It may be learning that he does not have to face every battle alone. He arrived in boardrooms believing that fighting Stammer was a journey only two could complete. Over time, Lala, Barris, Oslam, Martin, Dennis, and even Toyman have become connected to that journey. Some support him openly, some challenge him, and some stand against him, but one can remain untouched by the trust he is seeking. The danger is that Arask may become so focused on protecting everyone that he forgets his own limits. The stress of the closer Sahrat informations, Layla, pain, Dennis' confession, and Toyman aggressions could push him toward execution. Episode 9 showed allow him at least one moment where his confidence breaks. He may admit to Barris or Aslam that he does not know how to save the home. This would not make him weak, it would make him later courage more believable. A friend clue answers that they are not asking him to save them alone, they are asking him to remain outside them. That message captures the difference between leadership and sacrifice. Arask does not need to become a hero standing above everyone else. He needs to become part of a group that act together. These lessons may later help him when he finally finds Damar. A brother cannot be reduced like an object. He must be understood, trusted, and allowed to make his own choices. Lala may learn a similar lesson. She cannot prove her love by demanding that Arask immediately choose her. She can prove it by acting according to her values, even when he is too afraid to accept her spot. Dennis cannot make a soul love her through patience or sacrifice, but she can choose honesty and protect her own dignity. Toyman cannot heal by defeating Aras because Aras is not the source of the lies that shaped his life. Each young character must stop trying to control another person and begins taking responsibility for personal choices. The adults face the same challenge through they have avoided it much longer. Sabnam and Hakan have treated that trust as something they can manage. They decide who know. They decide who remains silent, who is sent away, and which story become official. Arask represents a force they cannot fully control because he has less laws than they do. He does not possess their money or status, but he also does not depend on the false image they are desperate to protect. The closures of the home may become Sabnam's greatest mistake because it makes the hidden conflict visible. Until now, many of her actions have happened inside private rooms through threat manipulation or secret agreements targeting and institutions full of young resistance create witness. Each child can tell the story, each phone can record event, each supporter can ask why the closures happened too suddenly. The trust may spread before Sabnams can contain it. Hakan may attempt to separate himself from the decisions claiming he knew about it. Aras is unlikely to believe him. Even if Sabnam acting alone, Hakan helped create the environment in which she believed such an action was acceptable. His silence protected her previous choices. Episode 9 could begin its process of making him responsible not for only for what he directly orders but also for what he allowed. Toyman reactions to Hakan praises of Arask may become explosive. He may accuse Hakan of wishing Arask were his sons. The statement could carry more trust than Toyman realized. If Arask and Toyman and brothers of if he Hakan knows more about their identities, his response may reveal guilt. He might hesitate, become unusually emotional, or rescue to answers. Toyman could notice that reactions and begins asking questions of his own. Once Toyman starts investigating, the Akaya will face pressures from two different Aras searches from outside while Toyman searches from inside. Lala may also uncover information, creating three young people straddling the same wall of secretly. Sabnam cannot easily remove all of them without destroying the family she comes to protect. This shift may define the next stage of the series. Episode 9 could be before he remembers as a point where Toyman's stop begins only an upscales and becomes an other seeking of trust. His methods may remain aggressive and he may attack Aras or emotionally or physically, but his target will slowly change. Instead of fighting only to protect the Akaya family, he may fight to learn what they have done by him. Aras is in fact two angry young men searching for the same. Trust can become even more dangerous together. Stannis may be first persons to recognize this shift. She see that the Toyman after toward Aras is beginning to mix with fear about their connections. Rather than telling him about what to believe, she may encourage him to ask Sabnam direct questions. Toyman could reject her advice publicly, then follow it privately. His confrontations with Sabnam may reveal that she knows the meaning of the crow tattoo or the same Damar. The tattoo remains one of the clearest visual symbols in the story for Aras. It represents that the brother he lost may be lost. For Toyman, it may represent as identity he chose without knowing its full meaning, or a memory connected to his childhood. If Samnams react strongly when Thoreau mentions Toyman and finally understand that it's more than decorations. Episode 9 could use a close view of the tattoo during this emotional breakdown, connecting the present conflict to the hidden past. The garden protest also gives the series a place where social class differences become visible. The resistance sit outside with symbols belonging uncurtains where will slip in the futures. The Akaya arrive in expensive vehicles with lawyer security or officials, yet the emotional strength belongs to the young people in the garden. They have little material power, but their unity gives them a more authority the wealthy family cannot purchase. Lela cross from the Akaya side of the resistance sides would be a powerful image. She may begin standing near the family and then physically move to stand beside Arask. This simple action would communicate her choice without requiring a long speech. Sabnam would see it a betrayal. Arask might see it dangerous. The resistance might remain suspicious, yet Lala would finally be acting according to her own judgment. Toyman may make the opposite movement. He could arrive beside Akaya but slowly separate from them. Our trust become clear. He may not join Arask group but standing alone between them. Both sides could reflect his identity crisis. He no longer trusts his family, yet he cannot accept Aras. He belongs everywhere and nowhere. At the same time, Dennis may also stand between groups because of her feelings and family relationships. She could move freely among Arask, Lala, and Toyman, carrying information and emotional tensions. Unlike the other, her conflict is not based mainly on money or the brother mystery. Her struggle is about begins. She is valued. Episode 9 may allow her to stop measuring herself through Arask attention and make an independent choice. By the end of the episode, Dennis may accept that Arask loves Lala. Acceptance does not mean her feeling despairs. It means she stops building hope around the possibility that Lala and Arask will fail. This growth could open a new directions for her characters. She may focus on supporting the home, challenging her mothers or understanding Toyman without immediately turning the connections into romance. Aras and Lala may not officially become a couple in this episode. Even after the trust about the feeling is revealed, the emotional is conditional remain too unstable. A moral believable development would be a private promise that they will speak honestly. When the immediate danger passes, Lala could tell him she will remain and Aras could finally stop ordering her away. Their relationship would move forward through trust rather than another dramatic declaration. The larger romantic question is not simply which person Arask chooses. The real question is whether Arask believes he deserves a life that includes love. His search for Damar is connected to guilt and duty. He may feel that happiness is impossible until his brother is found. Lala presents challenge that belief by offering care. In the present, Dennis' confessions also show that people see value in him beyond his mission. Episode 9 may begin teaching Arask that accepting love does not mean avoiding Damar. The final confrontations with Sahrad could interrupted Aras a moment of emotional peace just as Aras begins to believe the home may believe saved thus receive a message revealing Sahrat a message location. The episode would then move from the public gardens to a dark and isolated place. This change in setting would create suspense. Aras would leave the warmth of his chosen family and enter the hidden world of the Kaya secrets. Hakan may already be waiting there. He could tell Arask that some trance cause more harm than lies. Arask would reject the idea, saying the lies have already harmed everyone. Hakan may allow him to speak to Sahrat. Confidence that fear is keep the man silent, yet Sahrat could decide that Hakan no longer has enough power of protect him. His first honestly sentence might change the entire series. Sahrat may say that Damar did not disappear by accident. Someone chose the family that adopted him. Someone ensured that the brother records were separated. Someone continued watching both of them. Arask would ask who made those decisions. Sahrat might look toward Hakan, suggested his involvement, or name another person whose role has not yet been revealed. If Hakan is directly connected to Tamar adoptions, his relationship with Toyman becomes even more suspicious. He may have brought Tamar into the Akaya home, changed his name, and raised him as a Toyman. Semnams may have agreed because she wanted a child, because she felt responsible for the accident, or because keeping Damar close followed them to control what he remembered. These remain predictions, but the story has created enough clue to make such a possibility important. Another possibility is that Hakans did not adopt Damar but helped another family do so. Toyman may then be connected through friendship, shared treatment, or an exchange identity. This would preserve the mystery while still explaining Hakan affairs. Hakan Sahrat information could clarify which part of the theory is correct. The episode may end before Aras can test the claim. Sahrat could provide the name of a hospital's lawyer, orphanage worker, or adoptions file. Aras would then have a new destination for episode 10. This would be satisfying because it moves the investigations before with a concrete clue rather than another anonymous message. Meanwhile, the persons responsible for the original plans may learn the Sahrat has spoken. This hidden figure could send someone to recover the evidence or silence him. Arask might leave the location believing he finally has control, only to discover that the change has increased. The mystery would then move beyond emotional secret into a direct threat. The resistance of the home may also become targets when Arask enemies understand how much he cares about them. They could use the group to control him. This makes saving the building only the first step. Arask must also protect the people inside it. His first, however, may refuse to be treated as helpless. Barry's Oslam and the other could become active partners in the investigations. One of them may have recorded Samnam threat or discovered the connections between the Closer's Order and the Akaya Foundations. The evidence could be saved for later, saving the resistance. Leverage their participation would strengthen the idea that the story is no longer only Aras against the Akayas. It is a wider group demanding trust from group who believe power places them Above consequence, episode 9 emotional power will depend on balance. The story contains the home's closures, the brother mystery, romantic tensions, Toyman's breakdown, family conflict, and Sahrat informations. Each storyline needs its own purpose. The closure should reveal Ara's leadership. The romantic conflict should reveal his fear of closeness. Toyman anger should reveal his identity crisis. Sahra's sins should provide real movement in the mystery. When these parts support one another, the episode 9 can feel intense without becoming confusing. The official preview already showed that the home Arask feeling for Lala, Toyman growing hatred, Khan administration, and Sahrat. Knowledge will be central, becoming outcome remain unknown before broadcast, but the direction is clear. Every major relationship is reaching a point where silence is becoming impossible. Eros can be longer hide his feeling from Lala for hours. Dennis can no longer pretend she feels nothing. Toyman can no longer trust the family story without questions. Hakan can no longer admire Arask while continuing to hide the trust without facing the contradictions. Sabnam can no longer attack Arask privately now that her choices threatening as entire community. Sahrat can no longer survive by making deals by with everyone. This is why episode 9 may because a turning point rather than a simple continuation. The character are begins pushed out of the position they have held since the beginning. Arask changed from a lonely investigator into a public leader. Lala changes from a protected daughter into a person forced to choose a side. Dennis changes from a silent admirer into someone who speaks difficult trust. Toyman changes from a confident aggression into a young man questioning his identity. The Akaya parents change from controller of the story into people losing control. The biggest story of Arask will not be receiving every answers it wants. It would be proving that Sabnam cannot removing him by destroying his home. If resistance remains together, even temporary, Arask will understand that resistance can protect what matters. That confidence may prepare him from harder trust about Damer. The biggest dangers from Arask would be allowing angers to control him. Sebnam and Hakans may deliberately provoke him, hoping she will create a reasons for the authority to act. Toyman may attack him against after hearing Hakan praise. Sahrat may refuse to speak. Lala may excuse him of pushing her away. Any one of these events could make him lose control. Episode 9 will show whether he has learned from earlier mistakes. Arask's most powerful weapon is not physical strength, it is his refusal to accept the false choices created by powerful people. Sabnam may tell him he must choose between the homes and his brothers. Hakan may tell him he must choose between safety and trust. Arask may find a third path by involving his friends, exposing by closures, and forcing Sahrat to speak. This ability to reject unfair choices is what makes him dangerous to the Akayas. Lala's strongest act will be refuse to get Arask to choose her role for her. Some may understand his fears, but she can still demand respect if she stands beside the resistance. The challenge Sabnam, she can become an active force in the story. Her relationship with Arask will then be based on shared struggles rather than attractions alone. Dennis' strongest act will be telling Lala the trust despite her own feeling that decisions may hurt her, but it gives her emotional control. She is no longer waiting for Arask to notice her. She is deciding what kind of person she wants to be. Her next relationship, whether with Toyman or someone else, will be healthier. It begins after she makes peace with what choice. Toyman's strong act would be questioning him family instead of attacking Arask. Even one honest question could begin his transformation. He does not need to become